Welcome to part 3 on how to overcome holiday overwhelm. And I'm really focusing on preparation for the holidays, but everything that I'm teaching you here is going to help you to have a better Christmas and then such a heads up and a leg up for January and moving forward. Because we always have our brain with us. Isn't that amazing? And so the more that we can invest in our brain and the more that we can understand how our brains work, better chances we're going to have in our life. Just before I go into some before and afters of the women in my program that have really been able to benefit from life coaching, I do want to share that in order for us to trust ourselves, right? So let's say we are going to go on a date with a friend, like coffee date or something. We would make sure that we would honor that date. We would say, yes, I'm going to come, and something comes up, you would definitely call them, reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be a little bit late, or I'm really sorry I have to cancel. But the problem is for a lot of us, we do this to ourselves all of the time. And when we're having that attitude towards ourselves, we call this the back burner syndrome. So we're saying we're not important enough to honor our own word. So just like I taught in the first class, what you want is the most important, because what we're doing, we're developing trust with ourselves. We have to learn how to say what we're going to say. We have to learn to say what we want, and then we have to work on creating what we want. And the more that we can do that, the more trust we can build with ourselves. And then when that happens, we are happier. We are more self-sufficient. And for all my perfectionists out there, we're not needing all the external validation that we have tended to need. And so when you can learn to start trusting yourself by learning to manage your own thoughts, how to communicate with yourself, how to talk to yourself, be kind to yourself, work through all of those things, you start creating a life that is a lot more exciting and a lot more rewarding because you're creating it for you. Now, when I give these before and afters, this is not your typical and she lost 80 pounds. People in my program tend to lose physical weight because they learn how to feel their feelings. They learn how to communicate with themselves, how to be honest with themselves, how to feel all the feelings. And so they don't overspend, they don't overeat, they don't overscroll. Okay? So if you see me in social media or you see me other places and I talk about being a weight loss coach, I'm talking about the mental and physical weight. So when you can go into your brain and see all the heaviness, all of that, when you can start organizing it, the side effect, the results start happening of you losing weight. And so my story is I have 5 kids. My youngest kid went to school. Even though I had this really fulfilling professional quilting job, my identity was really rocked. And then you add menopause, perimenopause to that. And it was really challenging for me. And we moved somewhere. It's a beautiful place, but I didn't really want to move. And the house that we got was not what I wanted. And I used to have a beautiful home before. So when I got a life coach and she helped me sort through all of those things, I actually lost 30 pounds and I was thrilled beyond thrilled. That was in May of 2019. And by December of 2019, I had lost another 20 pounds. I didn't even know I could lose. I didn't even know I needed to lose. I was very happy with being in the 170s. And next thing I knew, and I remember writing in my journal and saying, I had no idea that weight loss could happen without negative self-talk, self-deprivation, and being kind. I actually lost this weight with creativity, commitment, and love. So I'm going to give you some testimonials, and it's not always about weight loss, but I do want to be totally transparent. We talk about weight loss, and that's a huge industry, but I'm a very non-traditional weight loss coach because I address the real issue. We don't have a knowledge problem. You know what you should eat and what you shouldn't. We know how much you should scroll, all the things. But what we do have is an under-feeling problem. We don't know how to feel our feelings. We don't know how to work through our feelings. We don't know how to resolve those challenges. And that's where I come in with the tools that I have for you. So this is Claudia. She loves her family. She is a dedicated wife and mother. They have a blended family with all of the different issues with the aging. She's aging, her spouse is aging, has had quite a bit of illness, and learning how to navigate all of that has been a huge transition for her. And one of the things that's been really, really cool to watch with Claudia is how much she is able to now use her own voice. And her husband have been doing Mr. and Mrs. Claus for years. Their health is not as good, and it actually put him at risk to be around all those kids at this time of year. And so she was able to create a boundary and say, hey, listen, I've loved doing this, but we need to now pass the torch. And she was able to do that with love. She was able to do that with respect for herself. She's not feeling resentful or anything. She's able to make decisions and go with it. Another example that was really cool was, they had a visitor come. She doesn't really enjoy being around. And she was able to just say, hey, I'm going to go do my own thing. And she would never have done that before. Her husband would get really impressed that she was able to say, hey, I'm not doing that. And she's amazing. Look how beautiful she is. And when she came to me, she was really attracted of the weight loss aspect. So as you can see here, she's lost about 70 pounds. She's still working through her relationship with food. The thing that's making the difference is she is finally feeling her feelings. She's able to be in her mind about all the different challenges that her body and weight loss has been for her pretty much her whole life. And it has made such a huge impact, not only in her relationship with herself, but because she was able to change the relationship with herself, she has these different relationships with her mom, her spouse, her kids and grandkids. She's in this phase of life where she really is the link that's keeping everyone together. And she's able to do that so much more because she's able to look at the feelings and the discomfort. And it's really, really fun to watch Sue as she has grown. And just recently, she shared with me what a huge transformation it's been for her to see the before and after pictures and really look at not so much about the pictures, it's about really who she is becoming. And it's been such a huge transformation. All right. And the last person I want you to meet is Deb. And we started working together in December of 2020. She has worked through all different issues with her aging mother, with her relationship with her siblings, with her own grown children, really not, being able to use her voice and saying what she really wants and not feeling guilty about it and having better boundaries. And so she is down 80 pounds, but it's because of the way that she has approached how she has used food. And it's been very interesting to watch how proactive she's been and how she's been able to be so much more honest with herself. She definitely has a streak of rebellion, but her productivity in the craft room, she's a rug hooker, she's a quilter, and she loves making bags. And her productivity has just increased so much, not only physically, but her procrastination. And it's her ability to talk to herself without having the drill sergeant show up all the time has made such a huge difference. So I really love sharing these ladies because not only has their life changed, just like when you throw a stone in water, the ripple effects happen. So if you are feeling like you want to live a life that's more on purpose, a life that's more intentional, and if you really want to honor the time that you have, the kind of body that you have, the kind of relationships you have with yourself and with others, you were a mother and now that role has changed, or you retired, so that identity has been taken, or maybe it is the weight, or maybe it's like all the clutter and you don't trust yourself. I have a client recently, she's a traveling nurse. She has all this time at night. Well, she wanted to go to the quilt shop, but she didn't want to spend all the money because she just didn't trust herself. So she created what am I going to do instead plan. And so she just drove past the quilt shops and she started reading books, taking a bubble bath, just spending more time with herself. These are the kinds of things that happen when you learn life coaching tools. And I do have a membership that teaches you how to go inside of yourself, how to work through of those difficulties, And I've walked you through the 5 main pillars of the membership. And so the first one is your worth has already been determined. You don't have to make things to lose weight, have a sort of house or car or Instagram followers. Your worth is already set. I teach you about your worth and a model, a way of looking at all these unintentional habit thoughts that are in your way that are keeping you from living the life you want. So that's module 1. Your worth is already set. And here's a life tool. It's like a mirror to your brain to see why you keep sabotaging yourself or why you keep saying you're going to do something you don't follow through. The second pillar is weight loss science is simple. You have a very basic understanding. You become your own director. And with that module, you learn how to create your own eating plan and troubleshoot it. So some women will join my program who don't have weight loss, but what they will do with that is they will learn how to love themselves more or how to forgive others. So they take those same principles. The third pillar is how to feel your feelings and not run away from them. We over people please, overcommit, do all these crazy things because we don't know how to feel our feelings. So I go really deep into how you feel your feelings, and I have some ways of learning how to process them and so that you can live a life without all the fear. And that also brings in perfectionism, which you have seen probably my perfectionist recovery program. The fourth pillar is taking 100% responsibility for yourself. So when you learn to take responsibility for yourself, you stop at least shaming yourself, saying, I'm not good enough, or you stop blaming your mom or your dad or your uncle or your aunt. And then the buck stops with you in the most empowering way. And the fifth pillar is how to create self-confidence. We were not born with confidence. We built. So I teach you 3 steps of how to build self-confidence and then how to keep building it. It's like math. You start very small, like here are 3 blocks, here are another 2 blocks, and we put them together and that's 5 blocks. And now you're starting to build confidence. And then we start introducing new concepts. So build on that confidence and you will be amazed at how much it will change the way you show up for yourself every day, the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to others. It'll just be so fun for you. So if you want to talk to me about what it would be like to be in my membership, you can check out my website. The address is below. You can also book a 20-minute free coaching call where I can diagnose your brain. I can ask you some questions and I am an expert. I can help you with all of that. And then we can see if it's a good fit. And people who come on these consults are always really surprised at how natural and comfortable it is because do feel seen, they feel heard. So if that is something that you want to pursue, I would love to invite you to do that. I also have an amazing podcast where you can go and learn so much. And I have my YouTube channel. So you can watch the podcast on YouTube or listen to it anywhere that they have podcasts. It's been so much fun spending this time with you. I hope you have an amazing time. And I cannot wait to hear back from you on what you've learned through all this process. Take care.